Hello, everyone. Welcome back to part 3 of at least 5 in the case of the murder of Judge Kevin Mullins, 54 years old, district judge in Letcher County, Kentucky. I actually see that we have a friend from Letcher County with us tonight. Delvin, welcome to you. Glad that you're here. So Judge Mullins was shot to death in his chambers by the town or the county sheriff, a guy named Mickey Stines, 43. Mr. Stines was subsequently arrested, and all of this was caught on video, which I can show you a little bit of. It cuts off, doesn't actually show the actual deed, but Sheriff Stines says that, well, he didn't say. The court says that Mr. Stines shot Judge Mullins 8 times with his service weapon after having a bit of a heated argument earlier that day and after having been deposed in a civil lawsuit against his former deputy, a guy named Ben Fields, who in a criminal matter was convicted of the R word and various other SA activities of people in his care at the Letcher County Jail. He was the guy that was the ankle monitor guy, and he was convicted of SAing some of the women that were on house arrest, facing, they were interfacing with the legal system down there in the Letcher County courthouse. So all of this is just absolutely crazy. We have been listening to, for the past 2 parts, the first interview of one of the women who are suing Mr. Fields now, a woman named Sabrina Atkins. Her co-plaintiff, a woman named Jennifer Hill, has sadly passed away. But what we're going to do today is we're going to continue listening to the interview of Ms. Atkins. The only reason that I'm comfortable showing her, is that she has gone public. People know her, know what she looks like. And so anyway, one of the things that she and Ms. Hill allege in their lawsuit is that not only did Deputy Fields abuse them, but that it was a known thing that if you were in jail and you were going on house arrest, you could get preferential treatment by trading sexual favors. And in her interview, in the lawsuit, Ms. Atkins claims that she saw video of like a VHS tape video of others performing sexual acts in the judge's chambers, these very chambers right here. And they were higher ups in Letcher County, including Judge Mullins himself. So what I've done today, and by the way, if you want to go, I pride myself as being a deep diver, and I do dive deep into these cases. But if you want the deepest dive possible, you need to head over to Hillbilly Crime. Let me bring up, see if I can, yeah. So it's just Hillbilly Crime. It's hosted by Elizabeth Jones. She is a local down there to Letcher County. Check her out. I had her on the program last week. She's amazing. She's awesome. Go check her out. Okay. And then where am I going? Okay. So what we're going to do today is we're going to get into the second interview of Ms. Atkins. Now, the first interview was like an hour 38, something like that, hour and 40 minutes long. We divided it into 2 episodes. The second interview happened actually on the same day. When they finished up that first interview, about 15 or 20 minutes passed, and then they went in and interviewed her again. Now, about the first 25 minutes or so of that interview, it's just impossible to hear. You guys who have been around for the first 2 parts, and it's so hard to hear what she is saying. But in the first part of the second interview, it's impossible. There's no understanding it. But about halfway through, the interviewer, what's his name? His name is Matt Easter. He's a detective with the Kentucky State Attorney General's office. He said, "Hey, I can't hear you. Let's move over here." And then it becomes a little more intelligible. I wish that I had the time during the day to transcribe this for you guys. I just don't. The best I can do is come in on YouTube in the evening after work. So we're going to have to listen to it together. There is a lot of catch up that Detective Easter kind of does as we kind of get into this. I'm estimating that it's about from 12:30 p.m. to about 12:55 p.m. So we're looking at about 25 minutes of recordings here. As we go through, I'm going to be checking the comments. If you guys want to get my attention in the live chat, just put GF in there. That's kind of the rule around here. I know other channels do like QQQ and stuff like that. Over here, it's GF. I guess I like my own initials. I don't know. It feels a little self-indulging, doesn't it, to use your own initials? Maybe I have to change that. But anyway, I just use GF. That will make it so that I can see your comment on my end. Of course, I give priority to super chats and super stickers, and I deeply appreciate the support that so many of you give me financially. This is a dream of mine to do this full time. So, okay, let us go ahead. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and start the recording. Hopefully you guys are going to be able to hear it. I just want to make sure on my end, it is showing the audio is going through. I will keep my eye open for anything else. And yeah. Oh, you know what? Here's a great comment. This is from Doc K saying, "I could transcribe. How do I get a hold of Gavin to do some transcribing and legal research?" Oh my goodness. I would love volunteers to help me with legal research, getting documents and transcribing, stuff like that. The best way to do that is over on my website. Let me bring you over to it. Give me a second. There we go. Here we go. So this is my website, gavinfish.com. The best way to reach out to me directly is with this little link right here that will take you to a form. And if you can give me your contact information to be able to reach out, and if you're volunteering to do legal research, I'm all about it. I would love that. Also, if you want to reach out to me for any reason, you can remain anonymous. You can just not fill out your name and your contact information. Just send it my way. You can stay anonymous. Of course, it's the internet, and so there's always a recording of your IP address and stuff like that. So if you really want to be super anonymous, be sure to use a VPN. Okay. I guess what I would tell you is I won't go searching for you if you want to remain anonymous. Okay. Let's go back over. Where am I going? Over here. And we are going to go ahead and get started. Here we go.
We walked outside the room.
I apologize.
Shannon, because I can't hear. I explained that to her.
Yeah, Mr. Bill's something he was
Conversation. I want to go ahead and bring you back up to speed, Shannon, if you want to.
All right. So the man who is speaking right now is Detective Matt Easter, and he's saying to his partner Shannon Blevins, "Hey, let me bring you up to speed on what we were just talking about."
Is explained to me, and I'm gonna go kind of. Don't come back over here.
Yeah.
I can hear you better.
Okay.
Shannon's got a big mouth. I can hear him from over there. You're kind of quiet.
Right now, these are not.
All right. So I'm gonna try to do the abbreviation here to get him up to speed. She says what's happened here is she's got arrested in Letcher. They gave her an opportunity to get out of jail or to get on a home ankle bracelet. So, and at any point stop me and either fill in or say, hang on. So she gets there and she's like, all right, I got to get out of jail, which we all would do that. And I'll figure out how to worry about the ankle bracelet when I get it. So we get the ankle bracelet, and then she realizes it's $85 a week that she has to pay. And if she doesn't pay that, that's...
You go and report in every Wednesday at 4 o'clock at the courthouse.
If we don't pay this, we go back to jail. So she's then assigned the deputy, Mr. Ben Fields, right? The Ben Fields is his name. Okay. So they become in a relationship, as in he starts flirting with her by saying, you're a pretty lady, similar stuff like that.
Yeah.
Miss Atkins says that she sees an opportunity. She's in a bad spot. She's on drugs. She don't want to go back to jail because jail is bad, and I can never been there, but I understand that.
It's
So we're in a bad spot in her life.
I
So
already heard rumors about Ben.
she had heard rumors about Ben taking care of other women's ankle bracelets because they had sex with him. So she's told me that she saw an opportunity to get out of the ankle bracelet, not out of the charges that were pending, out of the ankle bracelet fee. She's not worried about the charges. She can stand on her own 2 feet about that, but she was worried about the ankle bracelet. So she saw an opportunity to get out of that because of the rumors she heard. So then she started flirting back with Mr. Fields, and then the relationship progressed to the point of the sex in the judge's chambers. And at that point, the boyfriend, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
He found out about this relationship.
Well, he knew that Ben didn't make me wear my bracelet, but I always denied any kind of relationship. I said he was trying to help me. Ben's a good guy. So, I mean, he knew the whole time I didn't have a bracelet. But when he got on drug court, that was out. And
By the way, those little cuts in the audio are redactions. They're redacting her boyfriend's name. And she's saying, hey, Ben knew that I didn't have to wear my bracelet, but he didn't know anything else. And I think Detective Easter will fill us in.
she started telling Safe I had done that way. And he said, I tell you exactly what he said, and he did. He did the exact same thing. But of course, I denied it. And I was like, nah, Ben ain't done me that way. But that's when he started talking, and he's like, I know you've had sex with him. I was like, no.
So she denied to her boyfriend that she had been having sex with Deputy Fields in order to not have the ankle bracelet. That's what she's just said. I'm hoping you guys can hear this one better. This actually sounds way better than the one from a couple days ago.
So he finds out, starts getting mad, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, then she tells Mr. Fields, all right, the gig's up, I guess,
Right,
somewhat.
yeah.
We just got caught.
I certainly tell. And I had a picture of that ring. I didn't know who this girl was. And I said, you know this girl, and been to 9 Summer. I'm not from there, so I'm like, okay. I was like, well, I just want to give you, I said, I don't think he will. So he's drama queen. He is. I said, but, just in case. You better give me a bracelet. Something. I don't know what to do. I said, but I'm sure, everything will be fine. Just why I didn't know that it was giving him great details. And the details he gave me exactly how he did me.
And what was her name? And she works for drug court?
No, she's in drug court.
She's in drug. She's a participant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that edited out the name.
How do you think she knew everything?
She used to be hustlers. And her being.
So you think?
And I guess she flunked out. Oh, yeah, same thing happened. She tells it, he pinned me, not pinned her up, but, sort of just walk kissed her, and it was exactly the same. Yeah, in the judge's chamber.
So once you told Ben this, we'd been caught, then is that when your and Ben's relationship quits?
No. It was the drug court, and they mysteriously get that phone call that me and him was living together. Ben's still calling me. At that point, I didn't know what was going on because they issued an EPO. Men are not supposed to talk. You get 6 months automatically. I mean, they got, and I was like, I've never heard of one thing automatic 6 months. So, me and him, we're not really know what's going on. Well, we've been together 7 years, and he's drunk Queen, I love him or anything. We're not going to stop talking. No, I'd say that. So we talk. Yes, it's Thomas Scott, and that's. But yeah, he called. He's like, Like, what, you know, what? I said, what the hell? Because I was literally sick. Like, asked my landlord, and his wife would bring me food. I couldn't even get off the couch for 4 days. I was so sick. And, you know, when I was able to do it, I called, what the hell are you doing? What is going on? You know, why do I have to go to jail for EPO? What the hell? And he was like, well, they got a serious phone call, and I was like, oh my God. So I called in.
Yeah, the accent is definitely thick. But basically she's saying, you know, he asked her, well, once your boyfriend found out what was going on, was that the end of the sexual relationship between you and Mr. Field? And she said, no. And then she goes into, up here in PA, we call it the PA ramble. She starts talking about things that really aren't perfectly germane, like this time that she was sick and all that stuff. But the long and short of it is no, the boyfriend found out, but that did not mean that it was the last time.
You know, being, you know, nice, no. And said he hadn't even changed your address, and he still had it listed as mine. And I was sure because I was writing my text messages. I give you my address just a couple days with him.
So we're up to the point now, like I said, you and have now had a falling out over Ben.
Yeah.
So did you quit talking to Ben, or did Ben quit talking to you? Because at some point, that conversation, your all's relationship had stopped.
Thursday before I went to jail was the last time I talked to Ben. He called. No, Thursday because I faxed the paper from the hospital on Friday. He quit answering. I was texting. I went, call him. Ben would answer.
And then the warrant came down for escape.
Yeah. He told me I had a warrant before he quit talking to me, but he said it was over the EPO.
So he told you had a warrant, but it was for an EPO, not escape.
Yes. And he said, you need to come turn yourself in. I said, well, I've got COVID restriction. I said, Ben, I'm sick. I said, I really am sick. And he's like, I'll tell him, but I don't think it's going to help. And I said,
What do you think prompted the escape charge?
I think Ben was, he didn't think I'd ever contact and turn, and I'd be thrown in jail, and he's going to believe me. You know, they sent me back to Letcher County jail.
This is a good question. I don't know that she knew that she was being recorded on this. I think later on she does, but I don't think in this recording she necessarily knows. Because typically what'll happen is, like, if somebody knows they're being recorded in a interview with police, you will hear something like, at the beginning of the recording, it'll be date, time. Here is Detective Gavin Fish with partner Kimberly Fish. We are interviewing. Please say your name. You know, it's like that. And this one ends with him doing that. Hey, I wasn't able to start it, but this is the time. This is the date. That sort of stuff. So I don't think she knew that she was being recorded.
Next escape charge, and I didn't have the turn. I just had to order off it. What do you think's going to happen? Some things happen several ways. We're going to sit for time. We're going to sit right there and doing a charge escape.
So once you two, and you started having troubles, did that cause you to have troubles with Ben, or were you and Ben still pretty friendly?
No, we were still pretty friendly. He started causing me problems.
What caused you and Ben, though, to quit talking?
I don't know. He just quit. I honestly, and this is in my head, I don't know. That was his way out, escape. He didn't know what else to do. That's how he's done several women. Hit them with escape. They get thrown in jail. Everything's been a nice guy because he talks to you nice and friendly, and you think he's got trying to help you. So most people don't go to attorney. It lets you kind of just jail. Oh my God, it traumatized me that bad that I would have kept my throat in front of being pregnant back there. That's how traumatized. And I've done not too much in I come to jail. I could do my jail. That's how traumatizing it was. To him, I think that okay, when he hit you with escape, he thought he would get me to come over and turn myself in. You know, escape. I'm in the jail. Nobody gonna believe me. And that was awful. You know, I'd been stuck here. There's been several hospitals like that. To me, that was his way out.
But you, and I'm going to go back and ask this again, is you are found out, and that's what brought you to tell Ben Stacy's found out. If you all were doing good and everything was fine, what caused Ben all of a sudden to go get a warrant? Did you quit talking to Ben? You know, at this whole point in time, you and Ben are still talking.
Right.
So he still had knowledge of where you were at.
Yeah.
And that stuff. Is there any point that you just quit talking to him and he had no knowledge where you were for 4 or 5 days?
See, I text messaged him until the day I went to jail. He just quit talking to me.
Did he say anything why or like?
No, no, he acted normal. He said, one of the last ones he said was to tell him, and we got a house arrest or something, I don't know, make sure I packed the COVID papers in. I was at my son's. Make sure, that's, you know, the excuse from there. And I never heard from him again. Never. And I called, and not only did
I just looked this up, Hannibal. Kentucky is a one-party consent state. Police would normally, you know, so because the detectives consent to it, they can record. You know, and there's also all sorts of like wiretapping laws and stuff like that where they're required to get a warrant. But I think in this case, one, it's a one-party consent state, and two, they're law enforcement conducting an investigation. I think they're allowed to do that, but that's just me guessing.
I just keep talking. I mean, everybody was calling, hey, she's not trying to escape, you know. And the Letcher County was telling me I didn't have a warrant. Ben was telling me I was having a warrant for EPO, and I was like, that doesn't make sense. And, you know, because how the judge, he's like, I really don't want to get involved. But, you know, he also, he knows where I'd been to now, and he's like, I want to sit you in jail. You've done so much better.
So then you get arrested. You're in jail in Letcher again, or
No, Pike.
And is that when you contacted an attorney?
I called Bethany right before I got arrested.
Because you knew the warrant.
I never had a warrant, and I didn't know what for, didn't know what to do. Ben wouldn't answer me. You know, I didn't know what to do. I'd been sick with COVID. I had an excuse. I was like, okay, what's it saying? I didn't report in on a Wednesday or something.
Okay, so from what I'm gathering, there's a warrant for her arrest for escape because she's not contacting she's not contacting Mr. Fields, but it sounds like Mr. Fields is ignoring her, and he's looking for a reason to get her back into jail. Like that it's gotten out that sexual relationship existed, and so now he has to take control of the situation. And I think that's exactly what they allege, if I remember correctly, in the federal lawsuit. So she contacts an attorney because she knows she's got a warrant, she's going to be going to jail. I think that is what I understood.
Do you know when you say?
That's what he said. He said that he had put that I was non-compliant, and he said, but when you get that excuse, he said it'd be no big deal. I said, non-compliant for what? I said, I ain't with you on a Wednesday at 4 o'clock. And
so Ben said that she was non-compliant, and that's why the warrant was there.
And I didn't know until the city police arrested me that it was an escape secret charge. I had no idea.
But you had already contacted your prior to going.
Yeah, like he wouldn't, probably 2 hours. Thank God.
Did you know it was an escape charge at that point at the 2 hours? No. You just knew that somebody. Who do you think had got an EPO warrant on you? So you thought you were getting ready to go to jail because of.
Yeah.
But you didn't think. Did you think you were getting ready to go to jail because of the ankle bracelet or because of?
Because Ben told me the judge issued a warrant because he took an EPO. So I thought I was in jail over an EPO. That's what Ben told me.
Over an EPO? I thought I was in jail over an EPO. I think that's what she just said. Does anybody know what an EPO means in law? An emergency protective order court order temporarily prohibiting a party from doing something to the opposing party. Okay. All right.
But it makes sense. I said,
Why did you contact your attorney? I'm missing that.
well, he called, and I was like, why? Or I might have called him first, who knows. I said, what the hell? I'm cussing him. He's like, and he tells me what goes on. And he said, now this is what goes on. They get a phone call. He said, your boyfriend, me and must have called. He said, they get a phone call and this is what happened. I was like, oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? He said, what about, he's called Bethany, the attorney. I was like, oh, my God, that's a good idea. I didn't know what, I was at my wits' end. I had been
Scared of going back to jail.
Scared of going back to jail.
I understand that. So let me get this straight, because you elaborated a little bit more there. So he contacts you and says this.
Does it feel like to you guys the way it feels to me that he has listened to the first recording and gone, I haven't been able to really understand much of what's going on there. So I'm going to go back in there and talk to her again. And this time I'm going to repeat what she said back to me so that it's on recording. Is that the way it feels like? Because that's what he's doing here.
Is what happens when Ben calls. It's a warrant for escape.
No, I didn't know what still at that point there was a warrant for escape. I'm still confused of what the warrant was for.
You just knew that Ben's got a warrant on you.
Yes.
So he calls and says, all right, this is how it's happened with other girls. Ben gets warrants on you.
Yeah, he's like, I almost got kicked out of drug court, it's been about 8 years because, so we're arguing over this.
So Ben gets a warrant. He tells you Ben's got a warrant on you, right?
No, Ben told me he got a warrant.
Ben told you, okay. So then you contact, or they contact you.
I think I contacted somebody.
So you contact, you think, and that's how this works.
No, he said, this is what, he said, your little boyfriend Ben's lying. He said, this is, because I'm thinking that, it's him to all this. He went to the drug court that day and started in. He's like, no, your little boyfriend, he said, I got there, and he said, Judge.
VPO, not EPO, violation of probation. Thank you, Rock and Rolla.
I said, how you doing? And I said, doing great. He said, well, I got a little phone call about you last night.
So then at that point, you realize Ben's, I guess, double-crossed you? Is that how you felt?
Yeah. Everybody's, he's trying to save his ass. And I get that. He's caught.
So now...
I'm taking no time for him.
So now, your opportunity that you saw earlier is not working. So are you thinking, all right, I've done this, and now you went and got a warrant on me. I'm getting ready to go to jail, so you feel like I've got to contact an attorney because I don't want to go back to jail.
Yeah, he wouldn't answer.
Because Ben wouldn't answer the phone.
No, you can say, no. I was like, what's going on? Why didn't you answer me? I was like, I called him. I didn't just go straight to the attorney. You can see, I called Ben, what the hell's going on? I called the clerk's office over there. I called everybody over there. Kevin Mullins, I had 2 courts by Zoom with him. And one was with the EPO, and said that when we went off the Zoom, and I never heard Kevin Mullins say, anything to me. I said, boy, that girl's in some big trouble. She got a big one for her. But he didn't say what. And I went, what? So, I'm calling everybody because somebody help me, please. I'm not trying to run. I'm, what are y'all, I'm here, I'm doing my courts, I'm sick. And I can't explain to them, I'm not letting, check in every 4, Wednesday at 3 or 4. I've not done that in so long, petrified.
She said earlier when you and Ned were talking that if she wouldn't have found out.
Ned is her attorney on the federal case. Guy named Ned Pillersdorf. He is an attorney in Kentucky of some. He has a good reputation. Someone who does, works with victims, works with animals, does a lot of pro bono work. He is the one that's representing her and the estate of Ms. Hill in the federal civil suit against Mr. Fields. That's who Ned is.
And this blow up wouldn't have happened between her and Ben, that her and Ben's relationship would have continued up until trial for her charges.
As I was concerned.
For for the ankle bracelet, and she said that once she got off the ankle bracelet through the courts, she was going to end the relationship with her and Ben because she didn't need Ben anymore.
From what I hear, that you usually don't give it a hit someone's escape because of court case.
You don't get hit with escape before court day.
Nobody's really made it to the court. He hit someone's escape before him.
Nobody had hit him with escape before.
I've thrown this thing out long as I can to get to April, because that was my trial. And then,
Have you had any contact with Ben since your escape charge you've been arrested? Have you tried to contact him and he's not tried to contact you?
No.
How about any of his family?
So no.
His Uncle Bill called.
What did he say?
He said that,
Oh, the uncle did call. But she hasn't been in touch with Ben. He hasn't called her, she hasn't called him.
that was personal stuff that it needs to be. I need to tell you guys that nothing happened. And don't sign nothing, he said. Her saying don't sign nothing. Anyway, nothing happened, and that was between me and Ben.
When did you get that call?
That deal.
So it sounds like the uncle was trying to convince her to say nothing happened.
So I spent 9 days from the 26th to 9 days. That's what I did. What is today?
8?
That's Tuesday.
I was going to jail Thursday. Thursday.
So he called you after you got out of jail.
Let me just pause on this one real quick. Calissa, we talked about this in other videos. If you haven't seen them, yeah, it's definitely not your fault. But let me just tell you my opinion on this. That detective is, to my impression anyway, being very unbiased. He is just trying to gather the facts. He will ask her the same question multiple ways to see if she changes her answer. He's trying to find the facts, and his tactics seem and his strategy seem to be sound, like very good, detective work. It does. I know that does sometimes come off as he doesn't believe her, but the reality is that he shouldn't automatically believe her. He shouldn't automatically discount her either. He should be going after the truth. And I think that over the course of the last interview, he did a very good job of that. And I think that he's doing it well here, though I recognize that it comes off as maybe cold. But that's just my opinion.
So what day do you think it was when he called you? You said being thoughtful call, right?
Yeah. Thursday. I'm pretty sure they're out on Thursday. Today.
This past Thursday,
Yeah.
which had been
Last Thursday would have been the 3rd, February 3rd.
I tried to find it, 'cause every day I went to Walmart and get some money. I don't know if I have it with me.
Do you have a phone number for Bill?
No. You want his house and stuff on?
Both.
I think Bill is Ben Field's uncle.
And my house phone is.
What's Ben? Do you have a phone number for him?
Yeah.
Can you bring his Facebook up and I can see a picture of him?
I don't think, I don't think he has a picture. It's a picture of the truck. They may be.
Do you have a picture of him? Let me just say that.
But there may be a picture on here. If not, I could go look at his license book. You probably have one, sure. $30. Turn off. Shit.
Yeah, I've got everything turned off on that one.
I was let me do it. He won't let me on that until we'll turn it right back off. Though.
Is that it?
Yeah, but he don't want to.
But that's him?
Yeah.
Okay, you can turn everything back off then. He didn't sign that witness, that. We can make the witness go put that away. Do you want this little thing by Bob or on the back?
Let me call my son real quick. He's like, where are you before you get or that? Okay, you terrified?
No, absolutely, it's good call.
Me and my boss said we have very strange relationship. His girlfriend brought me down. Like, we get on really well, so.
Oh, that's good.
You got that? Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, the more people you get along with in this world, the better.
I was in jail. I had a respect for her when I come out. She said, "You're kidding me." You know, how big on respect?
Like I said, unless something changes, about 8:45 Thursday morning, I'll get these phones back here. Meet me back here.
Oh yeah, she has 2 phones, and he's taking both of them to do a forensic download of them, probably using Celebrate or something like that.
Be here, so you won't have to turn that.
I didn't get a chance to turn that from over to the right. So,
Okay, I'll go back
they
in.
both understand that.
Here's my card.
Okay.
It's got my cell phone on there. Do you have anything? I'll take these phones, get them downloaded, and like I told her when we stepped off this little side room, he didn't make any promises on what charges will be fine. We look at evidence. It goes above my head. So don't expect something, but don't disrespect
I
something.
don't have notifications.
But in the same sense, I want you to understand that we're here to look at everything. We'll see what we come up with. And no judgmental towards you. I understand you were in a bad spot anyway around, no matter what happened in this situation. It was a bad walk for you, and I'm sorry for that.
Yeah, because I really try to go through the court system and do the right thing and get the help.
Well, if you don't have any questions for me at 8:45.
Nice and
8:45.
Thursday.
Thursday be here, and we'll get you these phones back, and then I would probably suggest that you don't tell anybody about our conversations, because the more that gets said, the harder it is for us to investigate stuff. So what people don't know, can be beneficial to Shannon and I to be able to try to go in places and talk to people.
It's not in the newspaper at Pike, so that's.
Well, ma'am, I appreciate your time, and we will see you. We will see you Thursday morning. I'll get these back to you, okay?
All right, and then he does the print of what time it was and everything like that. That's how it ends. Betty says, so were these interviews after the other girl had passed away? No, I don't think so. I think it was before. I'd have to look. I think it was before, though. Yeah, good question. A couple other things that came in. Who were the investigators asking her questions? They were Kentucky Attorney General's Office detectives Matt Easter and Shannon Blevins. Let me bring up Judge Mullins' picture here real quick. I honestly think some abusers are clueless as to how much the abuse messes with the woman's head in so many ways. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, I don't even think they care. Even if they weren't clueless, I don't know that they would care. It's just a sickness. It's just so bad. Gen X, Gen 8 says, yuck, there's no limit to what these lawmen will stake just to get it in. career, reputation, relationships, freedom, sick. Yeah, I don't get that either. I mean, I guess I don't need to get into specifics on this, but in the modern world, I don't get it. And when I talked with Elizabeth about it, she brought up something that I hadn't thought about before. I think, well, what she said is it's not as much about the sex as it is the power and control over somebody. That's the high that they get. That's the climax that they experience, that they have control over somebody. And, I think I've told you guys in the past that I went down the road of becoming a police officer and was accepted into the police academy. It was the Highway Patrol Academy, and it just turned out that the timing. I wanted to do one of two things. I wanted to get into international business, or I wanted to get into law enforcement, and I was going down both paths at the same time. And when I finally landed that job that would send me overseas, I was actually in the airport on my way to Hong Kong, I think, or Germany or something. I was on my way on my very first assignment overseas. Oh, it was Thailand. That's what it was. I was on my way to Thailand. I stopped over in Hong Kong. I went to an audio show and then I went to Thailand. Anyway, so that was, I was on my way. So when I got the call saying I had been accepted into the police academy, I said, well, I'm going out of the country right now. I'll get back to you when I get back. And they were very courteous about it. And when I finally called them back and I told them what it was that I was doing, they were like, yeah, if you can travel the world, do that. That's great. But the reason I tell you that story is a lot of the process of going through, oh my goodness, there are personality tests and there are all sorts of things to get to the point where you're accepted into in that case, it was a Highway Patrol Academy. They're trying to weed out the people that want the power, that are there because they really want the power. The problem is that they're not successful at that 100% of the time. I have a friend locally who is a sworn law enforcement officer who has told me that he loves doing traffic stops and misses that he doesn't get to do them much anymore because of his position. And he loved traffic stops because he had control over the whole thing. So even people that are good folks have a hard time with that. And I think that's what Mr. Fields was doing. He was exercising domain. It's the ultimate domain over these women. And you're right. It's sick. It's gross. Great comment. Let's see. Yeah, Beach Fairy says, respectful. It was kind of him to say he's sorry for the rough time she went through, regardless of the situation. I thought so too. Rock and roll. Bottom line, he's in jail for this, and much more will probably come to light. Actually, he is already out of jail. He only served 6 months in jail, but I think more will come to light. Thank you for that. Lauren says, Gavin, Elizabeth went over some other cases last night. There's a whole lot of people not keeping their hands to themselves in this town. Ooh, we might have to have Elizabeth back on. We might have to have her back on if she'll come on. It's not automatic, but I will invite her. Bonnie says, yeah, really 6 months. That's it. Did he get fired? Yes, he did lose his job. But I mean, it wasn't enough because the crimes that he was convicted of, in my opinion, and I think this is the only rational opinion. I can't see anybody else. I can't see the other side of this opinion and agree with it. I just don't. But the crimes that he is convicted of are worse than murder. Worse, way worse. And I mean, that's one of the reasons why the Maddie Soto case talks to us, right? That for 5 years, she was enduring the worst crime over and over and over again. And I don't get it because he only got 6 months and 5 years probation, and it just isn't enough. It's not enough. Okay. Doc says, so interesting. I'm going to bring back Judge Mullins. We want to tie this back to him. So interesting. I love legal defense, international politics. I've been involved in all of the above. Very cool. Very cool. I have seen everywhere on earth that I want to see. There's one place on earth I would like to see, and that's Antarctica. But everywhere else that I've ever wanted to go, I have been, and usually multiple times, and it's because of the blessing of getting the job that I was really seeking in international sales. It was a blast. Leanne Lundgren says, I'm very aware of the good old boy mentality. I live in a ski resort of 7,000, and it's so controlled by just a few that it is mind-boggling. Yeah, and the truth of the matter is, I've lived in several places over the years. The smallest place I've ever lived is 200 people, and the largest place I've ever lived for any real length of time is about 2 million. And it does seem that it doesn't matter how big or small your community is, there is a small group of people that kind of run things. And that's natural because there are people that are drawn to that, right? And there are people that are like, if I have to go to another meeting for the rest of my life, it'll be too soon. So it's a natural thing. The problem is when that group of people stays too long and they become easily corruptible, then there's a problem, and it's bad. Jim, yes, this is the one whose wife was his jailer. That is true. Yeah, major abuse of power. I do believe he's ineligible to work, and he's a felon. He's a convicted felon. He won't get a job as a law enforcement officer. Yeah, so many of these guys get such small sentences. People do the worst time for minor drug offenses. I wish that, well, I have to resist my impulse for there to be more laws because we have way too many laws. But I do wish that as a society we would understand that what these people do is worse than murder. Murder is not the ultimate crime. It's the second worst crime. The first worst crime, the very worst, is this. And we don't seem to do that. Katie's Way of Living. Hello from Letcher County. Hello, Katie. Let's see. Beach Fairy says, small place, but not 200. Yeah. The place where I spent my childhood was a town that was originally settled by my probably third great grandparents, probably around there. And I'd have to look at my family history, my whole family tree. I can't remember which ones went in, but anyway, and it seems like in that little town, it never grows. The same number of people move out that are born. it just never grows. It's always been about that big. Let's see. Yeah, I'm fortunate that law enforcement where I live is very respectful and professional. I had a really good experience a couple of months ago. There are folks that are engaged with the law in some form their whole life. There's always some kind of issue with the law with them. And sometimes it's deserved. Most of the time, I think it's probably deserved. But unfortunately, they become the most easily victimized as well. But I live in a place that I think is very, very respectful. Our law enforcement officers are awesome. But I know that there are people from my town or from my area that are listening to me right now, just shaking their heads going, Gavin, come on, man. Right? But my experience is very different. I've never, I've never had any type of law enforcement encounter. I've never had to stand before a judge. I've never had to, I've never had to go to jail. I've never had to go to court, anything beyond traffic. I do remember that I once had a bench warrant out for my arrest. I think I was 18 years old because I had been caught doing 85 and a 35 because I was an idiot, and I missed my court appearance, and it just worked out that a guy that was my parents' age or a little older was the bailiff. He was the sheriff in the courtroom that day, and he heard my name, and so on Sunday at church, he came up to me and was like, Gavin, there's a warrant for your arrest. I am supposed to arrest you right now. Sometimes it's the people he took care of me. But that, there are other people that have different experiences. Katie, good to see you. Katie says, this stuff has been going on here for many years. This is old news to us. Law enforcement should not be investigating their own departments. I agree. I was glad to see that the Attorney General's office was taking care of this one. Autumn says, I used to hate law enforcement. That's because I was doing what I shouldn't. Law enforcement is good here. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Thanks for that, Autumn. I had this really great experience last month or the month before. I was covering for my day job a murder trial in a neighboring county, and one of the people that was there doing security for the court was a former police officer in my jurisdiction where I had covered another homicide, and he was on the witness stand. And so I went up to him and I said, hey, I remember you from being a witness in the such and such murder. And, I introduced myself, he introduced himself to me. And then for the rest of the week, he had moved on to a different department. But for the rest of the week, and anytime court wasn't in session, he and I would just sit down, chew the fat, have a good time. He's a really good guy and had great stories about some of his activities in the jurisdiction which I live in, which he also still lives in. It's pretty fun. You'd think him being in a position of power would have upped his time of his sentence. You'd think so. Let's see. Yeah. Autumn is saying, just be good. That's all you have to do. Mooney, the same officer arrested each one of my high school friends on separate occasions. He got all of us. Mooney, were you doing something you shouldn't have been doing? That's funny. Beach Ferry, we investigated ourselves and found we did nothing wrong. The English police love that old trick too. Oh, by the way, the only time I have ever been actually arrested was in England. I'll have to tell you guys that story sometime. Gavin, this is going on centuries. I am part of a good old boy system. My grandfather was an attorney at law for over 50 years. I know. Yeah, that it's a sad story that is the way it is in a lot of these places. If you want a really good example of that, guys, go over to my website. Bring you over there with me, gavinfish.com. Go over to my cases. If you go over to cases, you scroll down, you're going to find Rochelle Brinson. I haven't looked at her case in a while. Where is Rochelle? There she is. Rochelle Brinson was a young mom, avid hunter, avid outdoors person who was in a very acrimonious divorce proceedings, or well, they hadn't quite started divorcing yet, but they were about to divorce. And she mysteriously fell out of her tree stand when she was deer hunting, and lo and behold, she fell on some stuff that killed her. It's crazy. Of course, the things that she supposedly fell on, which they call cypress knees, were nowhere to be found in the forest. And her husband at the time was the cousin of the county sheriff, and kind of was a guy that is described to me anyway as somebody who could get away with anything because he was the sheriff's cousin and friend. So these kinds of stories are all over the place. Oh my goodness. Talk about good old boy networks. The biggest good old boy network that I've ever seen is the one that I think has conspired to keep Ellen Greenberg's death ruled that she did it to herself. I think that is a big city good old boy network. That's what I think. So yeah, they are real. They are everywhere. And yeah, that kind of corruption just absolutely stinks. Hey guys, I think I've put this up here before, but while you're on my website, if you click on this little fishy, that will take you over to the fish tank. We've got like 3,200 people in the fish tank these days. We talk about all sorts of things related to true crime. I posted today some of the AP pool photos because I'm a member of the media in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I got these of Luigi Mangione. That is a case that I've decided to stop covering because I just really hate that he's been treated like a hero. But looks like there's an update. We've got plea deals reached in the case of Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly. Of course, on my website, you can see everything that I have on that case. It's quite a lot. Here it is right here. And as with all of my case pages, there's just lots of everything, including case documents. So my website is a great place to go to if you are a true crime addict and want to get your fix. This is a fix. True crime is a fix that you do not need to avoid the police over. It's a healthy fix. So that's where you can do that. Please join us on the fish tank. So tomorrow, which is Friday, oh my goodness, December, I can't believe 20th is tomorrow. Oh, wait a minute. One last thing before I get too far away. Also, click on Crime Cod. That will take you over to my true crime website that has all sorts of stories about, in the news, true crime news. You can also subscribe to the newsletter there. So Crime Cod, see what I did there? A little play on my name, a little play, a little bit, but go there, check it out. We'll be back tomorrow with our next installment of this case. I think I'm going to try to wrap it up on Monday, which will be the last live stream of the year. But I do have a little surprise that I'm working on for you guys. So while it will be the last live stream, it probably won't be the last video. I think I've got something up my sleeve, is what I'm saying. So please come back tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We won't be doing it Saturday, Sunday, but then come back Monday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. And at that point, we will depart from one another for a glorious winter break. Okay. With that, I will bid you adieu. Thank you very much for being here tonight. I hope to see you tomorrow night. Take care. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.